I have this Panasonic portable cassette player, which I actually owned. Had it for a very long time. It's model RQ-V202, and it works, but the sound that comes out of it is a bit warbled. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to get the microphone to pick this up. I'll try. This is some of Herbie Mann, his album Reggae. I don't know if that's obvious, but it's playing okay, but it's a little warbled. It comes in and out, and it's very hissy. And the cassette player itself makes quite a lot of motor noise, which I can't really remember whether they did back in the day. I don't think that they did. But regardless, the idea is I'm going to pull it apart and see if I can replace the belt in it, and hopefully it will sound better once I've done that. Okay, let's get this done. If you're wondering about this amp, I'll put a link somewhere to show you how I got this amp working, which I did for this exact purpose. Of being able to play something like this tape deck. All right. So it looks as though we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 screws on the back. Take these batteries out. 2 AA's. All right. Screw number 1. I have no idea what to expect when this opens up. I imagine it's going to be crammed full of motor and gears and levers and things. I seem to recall it was a pretty high-end tape deck in its day. Okay. Oh. Wow, okay, that was easy. Okay, well that's chock full of electronics. Almost looks as though there's some sort of water damage over here, or I don't know, it's gone all white. No, it's not. It doesn't look corroded or anything. So we've got a connector here, ribbon connector that's been soldered on. A couple of hand soldered wires here, they've been soldered on after the rest of it. Okay, so what have we got here? How does that... Well, there's one screw here. Actually, there's a screw hole here that doesn't have a screw in it. So, don't know if that means anything. Okay, is that going to come out? what else is going on here? So this wire here is tucked in under a little notch there. So that's, just release that. And looks like there's some sort of little lever here, and spring-loaded. Okay, that just pulls out there. The other side is where the battery connector is. That's also holding it in. Oh, there we go. We'll be gentle now. So the ribbon cable obviously is soldered on this side, so I can't remove that. And also this wire here is holding it on, and these wires here, so probably going to have to desolder those. But I'll just see how far I can get it come out. Yeah, I think that's as far as it's going to come without desoldering. I'm just wondering where that ribbon wire actually goes. Okay. I should take the cassette out. Okay, so the ribbon wire goes through there and is obviously connected up to all the buttons and the display at the front, so I don't think I'm going to be able to get that off. So I think the next step would be to desolder this wire and this wire, and we'll see if we can't let the board fall backwards and give us access to the internal unit. Okay, sounds reasonable. Okay, so they've been desoldered. Let's see what we have underneath. That just lifts out. Okay. Well, that's all very neat. All I'm seeing here is a lot of plastic gears, single motor over here, and one very loose belt. Is that right? It's just one belt does everything? Wow. Okay. Okay. Let's remove it. There it is. So I'll need to find a matching belt. Well, I went through my collection of belts and I found this one, which is considerably smaller. That's the sort of the closest match. And it's way thicker than the belt that's here. That was originally on it. I don't know if you can see that. So I don't know whether it's going to work. I'm assuming that this belt wasn't this thick and then it became thin when it stretched. Seems to be a little bit too much of a difference. But let's see what happens. So goes down there, through there. And then Onto there, but I don't believe that's right. Yeah, that's more like it. I'll just twist it by hand and see what happens. It's amazing that you put the belts on and they're a little bit twisted, and then after they've gone around a couple of times, they seem to twist to righten themselves up again. So that's the only bit I'm really worried about is this bit here. Don't know whether that should be sitting on top. Probably not. Probably. Okay, maybe. Push it down and just see how that looks. No, it just wants to pop back up on top. Oh well, that's probably the best that we can do. Let's put it back together and yeah, see what happens. Okay. Where does that go? Well, that was so easy. It's making me nervous now. That was way too easy. But like I said, it's really nicely made. I think it was, you know, a reasonably expensive unit back in the day. And Panasonic's a good brand, so I would expect nothing less from them, really. That's it. Oh, that was really simple to do. It's a pity I didn't have exactly the right size belt, but maybe it'll be good enough. Otherwise, I can source the proper one from the internet. Let's put the batteries back in. So I'll put the tape back in. Beautiful. Okay, so this is the moment of truth. Turn the amp on. Press play. Ooh, that doesn't... That sounds worse. Ooh, that's horrible. Okay, so that was terrible. So does that mean that if you put the wrong size belt on, I would have thought it would have still played at the same speed because, you know, it's the motor's spinning at the same speed that it was before. I'll try that again. Actually change direction of the tape, like change to the other side of the tape by pressing that button. Okay. That was interesting. I'm going to pull it apart and see perhaps I put the tape back, I put the belt back on incorrectly maybe. Right, so I got on the internet and I learned some stuff. So can changing the tape cause the speed of the unit to change? Yes, in actual fact, changing the belt to use the proper belt made for this model can make the speed change. And you're supposed to actually calibrate the speed that the motor runs at when you change the belt. And you do that by getting a calibration tape, which will have something like a 3000 hertz signal, sine wave signal, recorded on it on a tape deck that is known to be good. And when you play it back on your tape deck, you use an app on a mobile phone or you use an app on the PC to analyze the waveform that's coming out to see whether or not it's at the right speed. So it might tell you that it's playing back at 4000 hertz, which means you have to slow the motor down. So I need to get a hold of one of those. I can't do that right at the moment, so I thought that I would just try and tune it by ear to see whether or not I could get it somewhere close. And you do that by finding a little pot, and on this one it's actually marked speed adjustment, and you turn the pot and that will adjust the speed that the motor plays back. But let me show you what happens when I use this one. So this is this is called Foster and Allen, basically folk music or old-timey music, and it's good because it has a singer singing over the top of strings, and so it's very easy to figure out whether it's in tune, because the strings don't sound correct unless they are. But this is turned all the way down, so it's slow. And then if I turn it all the way in the other direction, that's as fast as it goes, which is too slow. And basically what I think the problem is the belt is much thicker. The belt that I've replaced it with is way thicker than the original belt, and that thickness is causing more friction on all of the pulleys, and the motor isn't strong enough, so it can't go fast enough. And that's basically the end of that. I can't, and unless I get the correct belt, which is very difficult to come by, I might try and do that. I can't get this to run fast enough with the replacement belt. So just to show you, I'm not quite sure if you can see this. This is the original belt here. See how thin that is? And these are the belts that I've bought, like a generic packet of replacement belts off eBay. And there's a massive difference in the thickness. What I've decided to do is put the original belt back on it. I'm going to try a trick that I've seen people talk about on the internet, which is to place the original belt in some hot water and see if the belt can shrink at all. Hopefully that might work and I might get it good enough for the time being, and then when I get the proper replacement belt I can come back to it. So I'll try that. I'll put it back on and then I will try and tune the motor speed by ear, and when I get the test, the 3000 hertz test tape, I'll be able to obviously do it much more clinically using an app. But I'm pretty confident that if the belt works, I can get it somewhere close to where it should be. Just a bit of a side note, looking at the belt before I've even tried to do anything with it, you can see that it's not completely oval, that it's been sitting on the rollers for so long in the same position that it is actually a little bit distorted on this side and here. And I'm wondering if it isn't so much a matter of the belt shrinking, but perhaps loosening these sharp edges out of it. All I can do is try. So I've had the belt sitting in some warm water, I'd say hot water. I had to take some tap water and add some boiling water to it because I couldn't get our tap hot enough. I would say the water was, you could still put your finger in it, but you wouldn't want to leave your finger there for any length of time. So there we go. Hopefully that has affected the belt, maybe shrunk it a little bit. It does seem to have changed shape a little bit. Or maybe I'm just being optimistic. I don't know, what do you think? I mean, it's still got this kink in this side, which I was talking about earlier. Oh well, I'm going to install it and we'll see what happens. Okay, so the old belt is back on, the belt that's been heat treated by soaking it in water, hot water for about 5 minutes, maybe a bit longer. Let's turn this on. Okay. Well, that's the end of the song. Yeah. Okay, doesn't sound horrible. Oh wow, just turning a tiny little bit changes the pitch. But it sounds really good actually. Yeah. Okay, that is actually sounding quite good. I think it's too fast. I was wrong when I thought I could just do it by ear. I would need to listen to some songs that I actually really know, or maybe play the same song on Spotify and play it on the cassette and then try and do it that way. But look, it has worked. So the belt wasn't terrible, and putting it in the warm water actually did help. I'm 100% certain about that. So once I get the test tape, the calibration tape, I'll be able to calibrate this to the exact speed that it should be at. But I'll do that some other time. It'll take weeks for that to get here. So there you go. Yeah, I put it back together. I consider it repaired. I don't know how long that fix will last. Hopefully some time. Otherwise, I've got to try and source the belt. There is absolutely zero point in trying to use one of these thick belts with, a portable cassette player that has a really thin belt. It's just not going to work. It clearly caused too much friction for the motor, and it just couldn't handle that. Okay, I hope you enjoyed that. If you did, please think about liking and subscribing. Ciao.